Hi, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. So, as you already see in the title, today we are going to try Svelte. I'm going to try Svelte. So, there are these new generation frameworks like Svelte and Solid that I hope in the near future will take over the market and they will be the standard for front-end web development. From what I tried, I played actually with Solid a little bit, and it's a great solution. It's like a React dream that it's like every React developer dream comes true. So let's see basically what Svelte actually what they trying to sell here. So what I see is these three things. So write less code, no virtual DOM, which is a key feature for the new generation frameworks, which takes all this virtual DOM abstraction away and actually makes it very much easier to use. So Svelte compiles your code to tiny framework-less vanilla JS. Your app starts fast and stays fast. So basically, it's closer to actually be JavaScript, and from also from the benchmarks that I see, it actually has better performance than actually having the virtual DOM on frameworks like React and Vue, and truly reactive. So this is another key thing here. No more complex state management libraries. Svelte brings reactivity to JavaScript itself. Three amazing things. So let's go to the tutorial, see how it feels. It's going to be very different than React. I have seen a little bit of Svelte, but you actually need to get used to it. So what I think we are going to do, so let's first zoom a little bit. And what I think, let's see what we have here. So we have actually 19 sections. So I think that we can go, some of them are bigger, so maybe we can go until the binding section or maybe events. We'll see how easy or hard it is, and want to try to stay in the 1 hour mark. So we're going to start with introduction and everything. We'll go through it, see how this stuff actually works, and if you guys like the video and you enjoy it, then I will make a part 2 and we will continue until the end over here. Okay, so let's begin. Let's see what I'm not going to read actually everything that they say because it's kind of pointless. Just going to see how this stuff work and share my opinion maybe. And yeah, so let's start. Let's see what is actually going on here. So the first thing to notice is that they use app.svelte and they have the actual HTML written inside nothing basically, and it actually works. So let's see. So what we have here, we have a script. So I know that Svelte is divided to script, HTML and styles. Okay, so let's see. Let's copy this script. Let's paste it up here. And now we're going to have a variable which is called name, and it's going to be to have the string of world. And basically then we can refer to name in the markup. Okay, so this is pretty much similar to React. So we can say here name, and of course when we change it, welcome Mike, and this is works nice. And I think I forgot the exclamation mark. Okay. Inside the curly braces, we can put JavaScript we want. Try changing name to name.uppercase for. Okay, so let's try to do it. Name dot to uppercase. Cool. So here we write JavaScript inside the curly braces. Alright, you can use curly braces to control elements. Okay, src. Okay, so I think we should add an src here. So src is going to be src. Cool. Okay, element should have an alt attribute. Um, what else it says here? Amend dances. All right. We can use curly braces inside attributes. Try changing it to name dances. Remember to declare a name. Blah blah blah. Shortened attributes. Oh, cool. So I don't have to actually say src src. Okay, let's go next. Just like HTML, you can add style. Okay, so we have the style over here. Oh, we can actually copy only this thing. So now we have styled paragraph. So we can style the paragraph. We are targeting this element. Cool. Let's go next. Let's add a script. Okay, so it would be to put it up. Oh, so this is actually explaining me about how to use different components. We now present you two files in the editor. On the right upper bar, to click on Svelte and nested.svelte. Each .svelte file holds a component that is reusable, self-contained block of code that encapsulates HTML, CSS, and JavaScript that belong together. Let's add a script tag in app.svelte that imports the file. Okay, so this is how you import other components basically. So I'm importing nested from nested.svelte. Then use component nested in the app. Okay, so let's take this. So this is look pretty much like React. This is another paragraph. Notice that even though nested.svelte has a p element, the styles from app.svelte don't leak in. Let's check this. So this is a p element and we are styling the p element like this, and it's not affecting the nested component. This is actually pretty good. So don't have to worry about overriding CSS. This is interesting. Let's go next. Ordinary strings are inserted as a plain text, meaning that characters like this have no special meaning. Okay. But sometimes you need to render HTML directly into a component. For example, the words you're reading right now exist in the markup file that gets included on this page as a blob of HTML. In Svelte, you do this with a special HTML tag. Right, so this string contains some HTML. So in order to make this actually a markup, I need to add. Why is it making this weird thing? Like deleting my. This is so weird. Okay, so let's say here HTML, and now it actually HTML. Svelte doesn't perform any of the expression inside HTML before it gets inserted to the DOM. In other words, if you use this feature, it's going to escape HTML that comes from. Okay, of course, for XSS attacks. This makes sense. Let's go next. Um, okay, this tutorial is designed to get you familiar with process of writing components. But at some point you'll want to start writing components in the comfort of your own text editor. First you'll need to integrate Svelte with a build tool. I recommend using SvelteKit, which sets up Vite with Vite plugin.svelte. Yeah, this is not actually so interesting. So I know there is a SvelteKit framework. There are also a number of community maintained integrations. What is this? Let me see for a moment. Vite plugin Svelte, Vite loader. Hmm. Um, Let's check what is this. Svelte.js, white plugin Svelte. No, I'm not going to do any of that. Just going to use Svelte kit. Okay, so what is this section? Making an app. No, this is not something that I want for now. And we're getting to reactivity. Cool. So let's check the reactivity of Svelte. At the heart of Svelte is a powerful system of reactivity for keeping the DOM in sync with your application state. For example, in response to an event, to demonstrate it, we first need to write up an event handler. Replace line 9 with this button on click increment count. Okay, let's check this. So basically we are adding it to the button, so line 9 is this one. Inside the increment count function, all we need to do is change the value of count. Increment count plus equals 1. Alright, let me see. Count plus equals 1. So this increment function now should increment count by 1 every time. So easy. Yeah, it's just a let variable, just JavaScript. Interesting. What is the actual JavaScript output over here? Yeah, it's actually complicated. This is amazing how they manage this. Like, it's just compiled to some JavaScript and it actually tailored to update. What is this compiler options? What? What is that? Generate SSR? What? This is actually... Oh, so it's compiled differently? No, I have no idea. CSS, no idea what this is. I'm not going to touch it. Okay, let's continue. So, Svelte's reactivity not only keeps the DOM in sync with your application's variable as shown in the previous section, it can also keep variables in sync with each other using reactive declarations. They look like this. Okay, so let count equals 0, $sign double equals count multiply by 2. So this is a variable, I suppose, like a derived state or something. It's not. It's not a fun. How how do I? How can I call this variable? A function? What is this thing? Doubled. Let's see. Equals count multiply by 2. Yeah, this is a variable because it's like a derived state. It's not actually going to increment the count by 2, it's just the value of count multiplied by 2. So the handle click is the same, count plus equals 1. And how do I see the value of doubled? Oh, so it's just another paragraph. So let's paste it, for example, below the button. Count and doubled. I don't need the count because I will see the count on the button. Why did I do it like this? Okay, so it's a derived state. Clicked 5 times, double is 10. So basically double is listening to count changes and updates. Okay, let's go next. We are not limited to declaring reactive values. We can also run arbitrary statements reactivity. For example, we can log the value count whenever it changes. So where do I put this? You can easily group statements together with a block. Cool. This is cool. You can even put the dollar sign in front of the things like if blocks. What? Okay. So let's put it like this. What did I do wrong? It's supposed to be in the script, I suppose. I say the count is 0. Okay, so if I click, say that the count is 1. Now it's updated. Console, the count is 1. The count is 0. Don't want this alert stuff, so let's just have. Okay, nice. If count is bigger than 10, then I want to alert. Count is dangerously high. Cool. Let's go next. Okay, Svelte's reactivity is triggered by assignments. Methods that mutate arrays or objects will not trigger updates by themselves. In this example, clicking the Add Number button calls the Add Number function, which appends a number to the array but doesn't trigger the recalculation of sum. One way to fix that is to assign numbers to itself to tell the compiler it has changed. Okay, so we're doing numbers.push and then we have numbers.length plus 1. And we assign numbers to numbers. So if we click on this, nothing is going to happen. And if we assign numbers to numbers, then it's going to. Okay, see the issue. And we are checking the sum. The sum is going to be numbers.reduce. And we basically add all the numbers together. And here numbers.join plus equals sum. You could also write them more concisely using the ES6 spread syntax. Numbers equals, yeah, this actually makes much more sense to me, because this is how I used to do it in also in React state and stuff. Yeah, now this looks much better. The same rule applies to array methods such as pop, shift, okay. Also maps and sets. Assignment to properties of arrays and objects work the same way as assignment to the values themselves. Okay, numbers in the position numbers.length equals numbers.length plus 1. So will this update? I guess so. Let's see. This one is actually working. So if I'm assigning object properties, it's fine. However, indirect assignment to references such as this, foo equals objects dot foo dot bar equals buzz, or what is this, quarks thing dot foo dot bar. Yeah, so there are some things to keep in mind when working with Svelte. So I guess every how do I point it, as a framework or language, whatever, it has its own things to learn, of course. but from what I see until now, it's actually pretty sensible. So updating arrays and objects. Okay, now we are going to get to props. Let's see what is going on here. So far we've dealt with exclusive with internal state. That is to say the values are only accessible within a given component. Yes, true. In any real application, you'll need to pass data from one component down to its children. To do that, we need to declare properties, generally shortened to props. In Svelte, we do this with the export keyword. Edit the nested.svelte component. So we need to add here an export. Export. So this is, I guess this is how we receive the answer from up to Svelte. The answer is 42. Just like $sign, this may feel a little weird at first. That's not how export normally works in JavaScript modules. Just roll with it now, it will soon become second nature. Yes, this is correct. The $sign also feels a little bit weird. So we're passing answer as 42 to nested, and the nested is saying the answer is answer. Okay, so this is props, I guess. We can easily specify default values for props in nested.svelte. Export let answer a mystery. Yeah. Let's say equals mystery. So this has actually been overwritten by this prop. So if I create another thing here, so let's say nested, don't pass anything, the answer is mystery. Okay, this is actually pretty understandable. Next, if you have an object of properties, you can spread them onto the component instead of specifying each one. Info pkg. True. Yeah, that makes sense. So need to actually use, okay, conversely, if you need to reference all the props are passed into a component, including ones that weren't declared with export, you can do it by accessing props directly. It's not generally recommended, as it's difficult for Svelte to optimize, but it's useful in rare cases. Yeah, this is also good because for other developers, they can actually know which props this component accepts. So this is like actually using TypeScript, not like using TypeScript, but having more sense, like to have the info showed basically. So let's get rid of this. Let's see if it actually works. So what we need to do is to spread this object package component was already destroyed. What the hell? What is that? Svelte 3 blazing. It actually working website. So it is passing the props. Yeah, so anyway, can continue. So this is just the structuring. And we are already at logic section. Yeah, so we have if blocks and events. And how much time are we on it? Half an hour. Okay, so let's move on. So if blocks. HTML doesn't have a way of expressing logic like conditionals and loops. Svelte does. To conditionally render some markup, we wrap it in an if block. So if user.logged in, and so on, if user.logged out. So we have the user, logged in is false, so toggle is the button. Okay, so we need to do here, this is actually curly braces. if user dot logged in. Yeah, it should be optional, but you know, anyway. So now we have to close the if. And if the user is logged in, I want to show the logout button. Oops, what did I do? Cut, paste. And you know what, let's actually copy this. And this is going to be log out. So if the user is not logged in, I guess. Okay, so we toggle and nothing actually happens. Oh, wait, I think that actually is working. So if the user is not logged in, it should be login. Yeah, so now we toggle. It actually works. Cool. Let's go next. Since the two conditions, if user.logged in and if user is not logged in, are mutually exclusive, we can simplify this component slightly by using an else block. Okay, so if, then we separate it with else. Yeah, this I need to get used to this weird syntax. Hashtag if. Okay, let's go next. Multiple conditions can be changed together with else if. If x is greater than 10, x is greater than 10. Else, multiple conditions can be changed. So else if, yeah, that is actually not. It's not that surprising actually. Else if 5 is bigger than x, x is less than 5, else x is between 5 and 10. 7 is between 5 and 10. Let's try to do 10. 10 is between 5 and 10 because it's actually bigger. 11 is greater than 10 and 2 is less than 5. Okay, let's go next. Cat is not defined, cat is not defined. Okay, so let's see what do we have here. If you need to loop over lists of data, use an each block. So we have cats, h1, open each block. Okay, so it's supposed to be hashtag each cats as cat. This sounds actually funny. Let's close each. The famous cats of YouTube. Wait a second, this is actually links? Nice. So it's actual links to YouTube. So to do an each loop, we have each something, like this is an array, as something. And then we say cat dot properties. What else interesting here? The expression cats in this case can be any array of or array like object, i.e. it has a length property. You can loop over generic variables with each variable. Could get the current index as a second argument, like so. Alright, so here supposed to have the index, and what we can do, we can say I dot I dot. Then we have cats, and we can say I plus 1. Actually, this is what they want me to do. I didn't even look at this. If you prefer, you can use this structuring. Each cat says cat, and then it has ID and name. Replace cat's ID. Yeah, so some basic stuff. Let's go next. Um, Keyed each blocks. Alright, so what is going on here? By default, when you modify the value of an each block, it will be add on and remove items at the end of the block and update any values that have changed. That might not be what you want. It's easier to show why than to explain. Click the remove first thing button a few times and notice what happens. Yeah, so it removed everything. And it does not remove the first thing component, but rather the last DOM node. I didn't notice. Then it updates the name value of the remaining DOM nodes, but not the emoji. Instead, you do like to remove only the first thing component and its DOM node and leave the others unaffected. Okay, to do that, we specify a unique identifier or key for each block. So, thing. So I don't need to pass anything to the component itself. Okay, let's actually refresh the page. So this is like a key in React, I suppose. So I need to pass here the thing.id. Thing.id. Okay. Now if I remove the first thing, this thing should be deleted, the apple thing. Yeah, now it's working properly. This is the emoji for banana. Okay, do I have the IDs also? This is strange. Why don't I have the index like in the last thing? Hmm. Am I doing something wrong? Each thing is thing. How should I do it? I don't even remember. Let's go previous for a second. So they have I and they have it like this, so why is it not working for me? So I have, yeah, first of all I need to add, you know what, let's actually check something. So I have I, and here, okay, so now I have this I. So why didn't it work with the curly braces? If I add thing.id, thing.id, um, now it seems to work. No idea. Remove face. No, this is not working. This is actually strange. Why is it not working? No idea. This is interesting. Maybe this is instead of the index. So we supply. You can use any object as the key, as Svelte uses map internally. In other words, you could just do thing instead of thing.id. Using a string or number is generally safer, however, since it means, yeah, okay. Let's go to the next. Okay, so we have some async stuff. So how much do we have left? We are at await blocks. Yeah, this is the last thing. So I think I think that we will do the wait blocks, and maybe how much time do we have left? Wait blocks and maybe the events part. And I think for me it's enough information for one session. But generally, I'm pretty much enjoying it so far. I didn't do anything complicated, but feels right. Feels very different from React. Yeah, but let's continue. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so most web applications have to deal with synchronous data at some point. Svelte makes it easy to await the um, value of promises directly in your markup. Oh, this is actually nice. Only the most recent promise is considered, meaning you don't need to worry about race conditions. So we are awaiting, and yeah, this is not going to work because we are not doing this thing. So what we need to wrap over here, replace this element. Um, okay, so um, what is going on here? Let's see. Waiting, the number is 87. Await promise. Await promise, the number. The number is okay, only the okay, I want to actually see it and try to understand. Generate random number. Waiting, the number is 24. Okay, let's see. Function get random number. So the response is going to be await fetch tutorial random number. Then we have text await res.text. No idea what is this function. Res.text. If res.ok, return text, else return new error. Okay, let promise get. So I'm defining this function as this variable, let promise, and then handle click. What? Promise equals get random number. So I need to actually yeah, so I need to get another. I need to assign this function again to this variable to make different number, I guess. And on click, handle click, so this is assigning the promise basically. And what we do next is we await promise, so we await for this variable. So basically the await state is going to be the loading state, so this is where we put the loader, and then we have a then number, um, number. I guess it's just a name that I want to call the response, so I could call it, I don't know, data or whatever. I hope so. The number is 25. It's the same thing. And catch error, and then we have error.message. Okay, this is interesting. This is like a then catch, just in Svelte. Okay, next. So we are in our last thing, events. So DOM events, inline handlers, event modifiers. Yeah, I hope that this is going to be an easy section because I'm getting pretty tired. So let's see. As we are briefly seen already, you can listen to any event on an element with the on directive. So on mouse move, handle mouse move. Okay, the mouse position is m.x and m.y. Is it set already? The mouse position? No, it's not set. Let's set this event listener to this div, and is it working now? So it's supposed to be in the result. Yeah, this is nice. So I have a mouse move listener. This works very cleanly. Like there is no any delays or anything. This is amazing. Okay, let's go next. You can also declare event handlers inline. Okay. So on mouse move event. Okay, what is this? Um, xe.clientx. What is this? This is an event. Oh, so it's inline function basically. The quote marks are optional, but they are helpful to syntax highlight in some environments. Let's take this. It's basically going to be the same effect. Yeah, I don't like to do it inline because it makes it a little bit less readable, but good to know that it actually exists. So let's go next. DOM event handlers can have modifiers that alter their behavior. For example, a handler with a once modifier will only run single time. On click once. Okay, this is cool. Click me. Yeah, so I can basically say click, and here we say once, and it will trigger only one time. Nice. The full list of modifiers. Okay, so we have prevent default calls event.prevent default, which is very useful before running the handler. Useful for client-side form handling, for example, stop stop propagation calls and stop propagation passive improves scrolling performance on touch wheel events. Svelte will edit automatically where it's safe to do so. This is actually cool. Non-passive explicitly set passive to false. Capture fires the handler during the capture phase instead of bubbling phase. Alright, once. This is what we use now. Self on the trigger handler if event target is the element itself. Okay, this is interesting. Only trigger the handler. It can be maybe useful for modals, I suppose. Trusted only trigger handler if event dot is trusted as true, if the event triggered by a user action. Okay, can also chain modifiers together. Okay, component events. Okay, let's see. Components can also dispatch events. To do so, they must create an event dispatcher update inner.svelte. So what is this? Setup code goes here, function say hello, on click say hello. So create event dispatcher. What? Create event dispatcher. So I need to import this thing. Must be called when the component is first instantiated. You can't do it later. Side e.g. set timeout callbacks. This links dispatch to be component itself. So I guess it should go here. the import, and the dispatch is going to be this function and dispatch message. Oh, I feel that I'm back to Redux for a moment. Dispatch message, text hello. What is this thing? I don't even know. Click here to say hello. I guess that it affects the app. Notice that the app component is listening to the messages dispatched by inner components thanks to the onMessage directive. This directive is an attribute prefixed with on followed by the event name that we are dispatching, in this case message. Without this attribute, messages would still be dispatched, but the app would not react to it. You can try removing the onMessage attribute and pressing the button. Yeah, so this is what I thought. Inner onMessage. Can I call it whatever I want? Testing. Let's see. So on testing, this is actually handle message. On testing handle message. This is actually useful, very useful. So I can call functions and dispatch them with variables. Text hello. So I get event.detail.text. This is actually nice. Okay, makes sense. Let's go next. Event forwarding. Alright, we have three components over here. So event forwarding, and then we have DOM event forwarding. Jesus. Okay, unlike DOM events, components, events don't bubble. If you want to listen to an event on some deeply nested component, the intermediate components must forward the event. In this case, we have the same app.svelte and inner.svelte as in the previous chapter, but there is now an outer.svelte component that contains inner. Let's see. This is the inner component, which is dispatching this message. The outer component is having inner, and the app is having outer. One way we could solve this problem is adding create event dispatcher to outer.svelte, listening to the message event, and creating a handler for it. Yeah, but that's a lot of code to write, so Svelte gives us an equivalent shortened. An onMessage event directive without a value means forward all message event. So from the inner component I'm dispatching to outer, then I'm forwarding the dispatch to the app. Cool. Let's go next. This is going to be uh, the last thing for this part, DOM event forwarding. Okay. Event forwarding works for DOM events too. We want to get notified of clicks on the custom button. To do that, we just need to forward click events on the button element. So this is a DOM event click. So okay, so just forwarding is the same as before. So we have on click, and I don't specify anything, and on click, custom button, on click, handle click. Alright, there are actually a lot of information. I thought that it will be a little bit less, but there are so many things to, like, not complicated things, but so many things to learn how the Svelte system actually works. I didn't even finish the bindings, so maybe, yeah, maybe if needed, it will be even divided to three parts. I don't know. But anyway, if you liked this concept, please like the video, comment, so I will know to make a part two. Um, if you don't want to see it, if you don't care about Svelte, I know it's getting hype, but it's still not, yeah, it's still not popular enough and not ready enough. There are still work to do. And if you don't care at all about Svelte and you want to check out my YouTube channel, I'm basically having most of it is about React, some backend, Node.js. At the moment, I'm making this advanced chat application tutorial. So if you want to have a very cool project to show on your profile or just to practice all the cutting edge technologies of React, like custom hooks, using Zustand, using styled components, a lot of things, React query, everything, like to have like perfect project to understand React better, using the optimizations, use memo, use callback, everything, project structure, everything is in this project that I'm making, so it can be very beneficial. The backend is written in Node.js with Express, and basically it's going to use sockets for real-time communication. It's very interesting if you want to check it. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you're new, please subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers, so it will help a lot. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next time. Bye, guys.